Well, what a evening we are all are having with so many of diverse topics. Well, for the next 10 minutes, we are all going to become astronauts and go into space for 10 minutes and swim between satellites and rockets. But before the rocket lifts off, let us do a small exercise. How many of you had rice for lunch today? Quite a many. Can you imagine a small grain of rice in my hand? And can you imagine that with this rice grain, I can destroy your entire car? How many of you feel so? Okay, only one. Sounds impossible, right? Well, in space, it is possible. A small space debris as small as that of a rice grain traveling at a speed of 15 kilometers per second, 20 times depth of a speeding bullet, has a potential to destroy an entire satellite, which is often larger than your cars. Well, not just this, one such collision can create multiple such debris, which can start a chain reaction of such collisions, making the outer space completely inaccessible and unusable for our future generations. Well, I'm not just talking theory here. Let's talk about the numbers. Last 60 years, we have launched close to 10,000 satellites in space. And this has created more than 160 million space debris as per the reports from European Space Agency. What does the future looks like? Well, next 10 years, we are planning to launch more than 60,000 satellites. And the potential for this 60,000 satellites is to create more than 100 billion space debris. What does 100 billion space debris looks like? It is like having thousands of Eiffel Towers shredded into small pieces and spun around Earth at very high velocities. Well, ladies and gentlemen, unlike air, unlike land on Earth, which are under jurisdiction of certain countries, space is a shared resource. It is a responsibility for all countries. But just like we know that how everyone's responsibility becomes no one's responsibility, that is why space has ended up like public toilets today. And we are here to do something about it. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Ashtesh Kumar, and I like to burn things up. I hail from a small village of Chauri Chaura from Uttar Pradesh, famous or rather infamous for the non-cooperation movement during the freedom struggle. As a small child, I was always fascinated by the lines of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. If you have to shine like a sun, you must burn like a sun. With this inspiration and fascination for space, my journey led me to IIT Bombay to pursue my bachelor's and master's. During this time, actually, I got an opportunity to be a part of the team which built IIT Bombay's first student satellite, which was launched by the Indian Space Research Organization in 2016. With this experience, I got an opportunity to actually work with some of the brightest minds of the country, saw the beauty of gigantic launch vehicles spacecrafts. This inspired me to do what I do today, is to build future technologies which are going to propel the satellites of the future in a safe and sustainable way. Let me tell you how. Coming back to our problem of with so many debris, how do you think satellites move? Well, it is very simple to how we drive cars on the road. Just like when we are driving car and we see we are going to hit another car, we use our steering wheels, we use our brakes, we use our accelerators, engines to maneuver away, from this collision course. Similarly, when a satellite operator sees this debris is actually being tracked by extensive ground radar networks, and when a satellite operator sees that his satellite is on a collision course, he maneuvers his satellite away using a very interesting technology called as propulsion systems. What are propulsion systems? Well, very simple terms, anything which helps me propel is a propulsion system, like my feet are propelling me on ground. Well, similarly, we might have seen rockets being pushed up into space. They have engines with large amount of gases, fire breathing down, which propels a rocket into space. A same technology, but a miniaturized version of this technology is actually used onto spacecrafts. Often as small as the size of your index finger. And these are called as thrusters, which helps a satellite maneuver into space, rotate, change the orientation in space, change their orbit into space. By the way, I just remembered, how many of you know why Sunita Williams was stuck into space for so long? Well, it was because of a malfunctioning propulsion system. That's how important a propulsion system is for a satellite. You are literally paralyzed into space if you don't have a propulsion system. Just like our cars, our bikes, they need petrol, diesel to run for the engines to run. Similarly, these propulsion systems also need a fuel to run. From last 60 years, these propulsion systems were powered by a fuel called as hydrazine, which is a very toxic and a very carcinogenic fuel. How toxic? As toxic as potassium cyanide. The same chemicals which the spies used to take during the World War time to almost kill them instantaneously when they were caught. Can you imagine people like you and me handling hundreds of kgs of such a toxic propellant which is harmful for their health, harmful for the environment, and harmful to the astronauts above? And not just this, these propulsion systems can be very costly, sometimes as costly as 30% of a satellite cost. Well, with this problem in mind, I, along with my co-founder Tushar Jadhav, we built India's first space tech startup, building a green propulsion system to propel the satellites of our future in a safer, sustainable, and an affordable manner. How did we do that? We found the answers in our medical kits. You might remember in our medical kits there was a small red color bottle called as hydrogen peroxide, H2O2. The same chemical which we use to clean our wounds, very safe for people, very safe for the environment, and it gives up steam and oxygen when it burns up, H2O2. Well, very few people know that actually a more enriched version of this hydrogen peroxide was actually used by the Germans during the World War time to propel their missiles into space. But later, this propellant lost race because of low performance issues. Our team of engineers and scientists worked day and night with this hydrogen peroxide, blended it with our own proprietary sauce, own proprietary additives to increase the performance of this fuel, which today we call as a green fuel. We built new engines, new ignition systems, and overall we built the whole green propulsion technology around it. After 8 years of hard work, this technology was actually selected as one of the important technology of the country by the Indian Space Research Organization ISRO and was selected to be flight tested. And on the New Year Eve in December in 2024, this technology actually flew into space on the Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle PSLV C-60, from Satish Dhawan Space Center, Sriharikota, Andhra Pradesh, right 350 kilometers up into the space, where it was first tested by ISRO. And once the engines were fired and the 1-ton 4-stage platform was maneuvered first time using this technology. Followed by this, there was extensive testing of this tech for next 3 months where various complicated maneuvers were made using the green propulsion system. It was like a dream come true moment for all of us. 8 years of hard work, 8 years of night and day sweat into it. Maneuvering a real launch vehicle into space was a dream come true moment for all the astronauts inside us. Well, this was not it. Our happiness knew no bounds when the same technology, after the flight testing, got adopted by the Defense Research and Development Organization to power the next generation of Indian defense satellite. I think we all have a soldier inside all of us who wants to do something for the defense, something for the safety of the country. And that day we became very proud to have done something, our bit, for the safety of the nation. When I tried, throughout my whole journey, when I tried to find the reason which always propelled me to embark on this journey, whether it was a 7-year-old me trying to burn things up randomly, or the 17-year-old me, understanding the science of combustion at IIT Bombay. The one reason which I found is, a deep-rooted curiosity, a deep-rooted desire to control fire. Fire has a very spiritual significance in all of our lives. Right from the day we light up a diya to do our pujas, right from the time our mothers cook food on fire for us, or last part, especially in our culture when our bodies are burnt up during the last rites. as I understand more and more about fire, my respect for fire increases. Fire when controlled can shoot a man into space, but when uncontrolled, it can be a cause of mass disaster. And it's high time that as a race, we develop this sense of responsibility towards not just fire but other resources on earth, and not just on earth, towards resources on space. In our quest to reach the stars, we must not leave so much trash behind that it becomes unsustainable and unusable, by our future generations. And let me be honest, one person, one country, one startup cannot drive this mindset. Sustainability is a mindset. We need to create global platforms where companies, startups, leaders can come together and rewrite the rules for sustainability. And more than that, it requires a commitment from each one of us every day, one small step every day, one step at a time. How? A simple mindset of putting the right trash in the right dustbin at the right time will one day transform into a mindset of having a cleaner planet and having a cleaner orbit. The goal is not to go faster, it is to go farther together in a greener and sustainable way. Thank you everyone. I'm Ashtesh Kumar and I still like to burn things up. Jai Hind.